Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. As my lovely wife Danielle had mentioned, this is part 2 of our garden tour. We wanted to show you guys the rest of our backyard, which is like behind our normal spot that you've seen in previous videos. We've always wanted to utilize this space, we just didn't know quite how, and both Danielle and I got really inspired this year to make some changes with as minimal money as possible, and it's been pretty cool. So let's get to it. Let's show you guys what we've done. So one of my least favorite parts of this backyard renovation is going to be cleaning up this pathway. So you can see there's like kind of already pathway here, but it's full with grass and weeds. I want to clear that out. I've sprayed grass and weed killer on it. That's why you see that it's all yellow here. But yeah, thankfully I have my lovely wife that's going to help me with this. But I look forward to clearing this up, and then not quite sure what we want to do as far as like putting mulch down or maybe rock. But if you can see, we do have a lot of trees in this area.
Sweetie.
And when fall hits, all these leaves fall, and so I don't want to necessarily waste money on expensive mulch if it's just going to get ruined in a couple months from all the falling debris. So still trying to think about what we can do, but we at least want to clean it up and make it look nice and even. If you turn around, you can actually see we have a swing. That's not the final way it's gonna look because we have to change out the rope style there, and but that's another piece that we had to add a little bit of money just to get the rope.
Yeah, this rope unfortunately is too stretchy, and so we put it on there and you're pretty much on the ground. And this is all brush that is going to get burned as well because we just trimmed this guy. So unfortunately there's too many roots, as you can see, so we're gonna just dig a hole and then really pack it in with the sign.
I also saw some potential for this area, and I wanted to kind of utilize it for something fun. And I thought about, what about Horseshoe, the game Horseshoe? So I actually found the pole for the Horseshoe game in my shed. I think it belonged to the previous owner. So I just have to get an actual horseshoe because the one that you see there is actually my neighbor's that was testing it out. And then I'm also going to build like a backboard, kind of see what that looks like, and kind of remodel this whole area.
Whoa!
So about 3 years ago, we had a very big tree. You can actually kind of see it right there, maybe if you can capture that. On a windy, stormy day, that tree broke and it filled this whole area up to the point where it was inaccessible. And so I had to spend quite a bit of time chopping up all that wood and throwing it all in the fire. And because I didn't want to keep bringing it up and dirtying our fire pit that we built in our backyard, I decided, why not just make one right here? So just dug a hole, put some rocks around it, made a free little fire pit right there, and it's been working really perfectly. And a cool idea is that use pieces of wood from the tree that fell over for some seating. And what I was mentioning earlier that I want to show you guys is this little table that I built, just using, like I said, just wood that I had on hand. Literally just dug a hole, put it in there, and then screwed the top piece on the top there to make a little table. That way, if you're sitting here and you have drinks, you can place it right there. I built another one in that corner. That one's just kind of like a little hangout spot. You can put whatever you want. Maybe if you're trying to build a fire and you want to put, your fire starter supplies there. this area right here we used to use as a compost pile, so there's a lot of stuff here, and we're trying to clean it up to make it look a little bit nicer. And I do plan on putting some type of fence here just to help prevent anybody from, you know, falling over, especially our kids. So we plan on putting some posts here, getting some 2x4s, and just building a really cheap fence that just does the job that it needs to do. We just want to make it something that sticks in with the rustic wood theme, so it doesn't just stand out and just kind of change the whole aesthetic of this area.
So here's part of the tree. When we were actually sawing in half, it did break because it was already kind of coming apart. Yeah, it was cracked, exactly. And you could see there was a lot of wood damage. So one of the things that we do want and need to do out here is have all our trees tested. But this is exactly, so it was this tree right here, and this is exactly where it fell. It took down a cherry tree. It took down a few other smaller trees like these ones. And this is pretty much where it was. And we only moved this over just by maybe, I don't know, a couple inches. And then Joel and his manly strength moved all of these because these were insanely heavy, as you can imagine.
So one of the things that we found over in this area was a bunch of scrap pieces of wood. And I know that wood is expensive right now. I'm like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And so I started to kind of look at these areas and started to think about how I can utilize them. So I used them to make some borders along the way, and you can see some of the sticks that I used just to keep them in place. I literally just used what I had, just broke pieces, even used some pieces of like plastic sticks that I've had in the shed. And then so kind of bordered this area so it's more of a garden area. It doesn't look as great right now, but earlier in the year when it's really growing, it looks really pretty. I try to flatten this space as much as possible because I would like this to be kind of a picnic table area. So I put a border around that, and then I got these little tiki torches there. These I just had on hand, and a little bit more kind of bordering on that end as well. You can see that we placed 2 chairs over there along with a really cool piece that we'll show you here in a second. So here's that little corner that I was pointing to you guys earlier. I love the way this turned out. We got these 2 little wooden chairs here. One's a rocker, and then this one's not a rocker, but looks really nice. And then we got another one of those tables there in the corner. I do want to emphasize something, is that we've really been trying to do as much as we can without spending much money, and we've really done a great job just using what we have here in this yard, recycling, you know, wood pieces, whatever it may be. But really the only money that I've spent so far is mulch for the steps, and really I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think the 2x4s that I'll have to use for the fence will be some additional cost.
So we're going to be showing you how we made these cute little tables. First, Joelle is going to end up digging a hole because we don't want to put cement, as we may move these from time to time. We're just using an old piece of wood that was probably from a for sale sign. We're going to pack it in pretty good and then just make sure it's as level as possible. We did not use a level, however. It still came out pretty great. So we're going to put a smaller piece of wood and then hammer the larger piece of wood just to give it some stability. But there it is. Look at how great that looks. It's so cute. It's rustic. It fits in with everything that we want it to be. I love how it turned out.
So this area right here, it actually used to be pretty wooded here. We had lots of branches and bushes and trees just kind of overgrown. And I saw that it was kind of a flat area, and I've been looking for a flat area to just have a kind of a hangout spot, maybe even for the kids. And so we really cleaned it up here, added a little hammock there, and added these steps, which These are really fun to do. I just looked up some YouTube videos of how to make steps made from just wood and using a shovel. And I made it in 2 different directions, which is kind of cool. And then in the middle, which we'll show you here, I put a bunch of rocks that I kept just running into. I put them all in a pile, and I used it as a design to fill in that center area between the 2 steps. And it turned out to be a really nice touch. One thing I noticed in this area is that we have this building that's behind our house. This is a dentist's office, and so there's windows that actually face in this direction. So I wanted to have some privacy while we were down here hanging out or on the hammock. So we got this bamboo screen that we put along here, and I'm kind of thinking maybe we'll add a little more either on this side or that side. But for now, we just had that there just to kind of create some separation. 1 for privacy and 2 for safety, because we do plan on, hanging out with the kids down here, and we don't want them, going down this hill at all and endangering themselves. I also built another staircase in this section just to have another entrance or exit from this area, and it leads more into the direction of our house. So since I built that staircase on that end, I wanted to have something that like it was an easier, quicker pathway to get to that direction. So I just pretty much used my lawnmower and just cut right through our, I don't know, bushes, I guess you want to call that here. Just to kind of make that pathway, and I just put dirt to cover it to help it to not grow too much too quickly. I want to try to figure out a way to stop the weeds and things like that from growing so that this pathway remains clear. But it's been working really well. As I was cleaning this area up, I looked in this direction, which before I just had a bunch of bushes and trees, and I kind of saw almost like a pathway, or kind of like what could potentially be a pathway in this area. I thought that was kind of cool, so I cleared this area up and come check it out. So here's the pathway right here. It stretches from this area that we cleaned up and wraps all the way around to a staircase right there at the end that we'll show you shortly, and that goes up to back to our campfire area. Come follow me. So here's that other staircase that I was talking about. One thing that I love about the staircase that makes it unique is I got this stick that was just the perfect curve to go around this corner, and it just creates this barrier between the steps. So this wraps right back up and leads you right back to the campsite.
Well, this is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave us comments. And if you did not see part 1 of our front yard, please go take a look at that. I will link it in the description. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.